Want to know how to do your first deal? Want to know about financing? Well, stick around and we'll tell you all about it. Hey there, you guys. Welcome to Real Estate Divas, and today we're going to be talking about financing your first real estate deal. This is usually a pretty scary topic for a lot of people, and people have a hard time getting over that threshold, but
It's also the number one thing that, for me, when I learned how to finance real estate, I was off to the races.
absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
once you do it, and you can just keep doing it, lather, rinse, repeat.
Lather, rinse, repeat. That's exactly it. Well, and also, here we are. How many times a week do you think you have that conversation on telling people, all right, start here?
Right. Because the number one thing is, hey, I want to buy this. Well, okay, everybody wants to buy something, but what they don't know is the how to get it. And I mean, anybody can have a realtor fill out their contract for them or go that route, but they have to know how to get the money. So number one most common way to buy real estate, which I never ever suggest to people, I think it's a terrible way to buy it if it's an investment, is cash.
Yeah. And most of the people out there first getting into real estate for their first real estate deal, one, that's too scary, and two, they don't have it. They don't have that kind of cash. So if you don't have that kind of cash, then you've got to look at the alternatives. And there's
But if you do have that type of cash,
yeah,
the return on investment is not very good. Your cash on cash return on investment. If you put in $100,000 into buy a property and fix it up, and you sell it for $120,000, it's just not.
that percentage.
That percentage is really low. If you go in and you don't, you put $20,000 down,
then your cash return is fantastic.
it's fantastic.
Well, I mean, that goes back to how many times I remember when I first got into kind of the investment world and people kept saying OPM, OPM. And I'm like, what's this OPM people talk about? What's this thing? Other people's money. Use other people's money. It's, just to dumb it down, a lot of the acronyms in investing and in real estate are really not that sophisticated. But other people's money. So the next thing would be after cash, you don't have the cash, where am I going to get the money?
Friends and family.
Yep.
Which is a big no-no in my family. And it's not something I do with friends either. I don't mix family and money or friends and money. But majority of people I know, that's how they got started. It's always friends and family.
Well, I mean, I agree with that. There are certain times I definitely don't want to mix friends and family and money. But at the same time, I also have more of a we mentality, and I was like, we can do this. Let's do this. If you're going to borrow money from your friends and family, and maybe you're a little apprehensive, then make sure you're offering them something for that money.
Right.
They get something out of giving it. Make it more of a business transaction rather than I'm going to loan this to you.
And also very important
or give this, borrow it, whatever.
Right. Yeah. But also very important when you're borrowing from friends and family, make sure that there is some type of contract in place, that everything is written down. Even though you all have the best intentions, memories can get lost, and you just, to avoid hurt feelings, if everybody has all of the terms written down and you sign them and you adhere to those terms and you do not deviate from them whatsoever, things will go a lot more smoothly.
Well, and to speak to that, I know a lot of people originally, and especially in the beginning, you're like super timid and you're like, well, maybe it just needs to be kind of vague because I don't know all the details. Take a minute and think about the details, because it really does. There's a reason why attorneys get so freaking thorough and want every little minute detail, because it gives you less to argue about, because you just go back to, this was our agreement. This was our agreement. It's going to help in the long run, and it'll probably save those relationships.
Yes. So the third one is conventional financing, which this is any mortgage broker. You go to your bank and you say, oh, I want to buy this piece of real estate. Biggest drawback to this is that you're going to have to put most likely 20% down.
Yes.
Maybe more.
Maybe more. Well, because that's the requirement. When it's an investment property, it's different. You know, a lot of people think, oh, well, you know, it's only 5% down on a conventional. No, that's when you're buying your own personal house. You have to think about this whenever you do a little research, you know, watch the show. But conventional 5% is only on your personal property. You're paying at least 20% whenever you're buying an investment property. And you can buy an investment property with FHA as well, but FHA, it has a lower threshold to get in, but there are more hoops to jump through because FHA does have a investor remodel program. Not everybody, especially in this hot market, is going to accept something like that. But if they do, you're gonna have to keep track of everything. You're gonna have to get all the bids, all the contractors get paid through the bank. It is a process, and you're gonna have to be organized.
It's also a long time frame
Yes.
to get it. I mean, I've
Yes.
heard of some loans nowadays taking upwards of 60 days, especially if they've got that government, what is it, it's called like the 308B plan
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
like that special loan that if you're going to get something that needs rehabbed.
Exactly.
Which and that's the other thing. If you're going for a purely conventional loan and buying it as an investment, you're not going to be able to have something that needs substantial repairs. It's got to be already fixed.
Exactly. So then the other would be a private lender. So are we talking private lender as this? We're talking private lender like not hard money.
Not hard
money's
money.
next.
Hard money
Private-
is more institutional. Private lender is just a guy.
Yep.
Now, he's not going to be related to you. Terms are going to probably be more favorable. I get approximately 7% from my private lenders, which is nice. I'm happy to pay that.
Absolutely. So I was having a conversation just 2 days ago with some new wholesalers, and they're like, "Hey, well, where do we find the money?" And I said, "Well, you know, your brand spanking new. You're probably going to have to start with the hard money. But if you want private money, then go out there, meet as many people as you possibly can."
Are these wholesalers? So they're signing contracts anyways.
Yes, but they want to do some flips, and they want to, you know, they also want to invest. They're new. They want to do it all, right? But they know wholesaling is the way to get their foot in the door. So anyway, we had the conversation about doing all different kinds of financing and what's out there. And they're like, "Well, do you have any private lenders that you could tell me about?" And I'm like, nobody is going to give you their private lender. Nobody, because these are relationships that you've developed with individuals, and you want all the extra money they have to invest in your deals. And if I give you that reference, then they're going to have less money for me to invest in something. I may have a perfect deal, and then I go to get money from them, and they've already loaned out everything they've got.
The other caveat to that is if you were to refer this person that is brand new to this, and they fail, and your private lender loses money on it, again,
you referred them.
And so, yeah, maybe they did one deal with them, but you're out too because you've referred this person.
Yeah,
because they lost.
And now that's going to fall down hard on your shoulders. So yeah, don't even bother asking somebody who their private lender is, because 99.9% of the time nobody's telling you.
Right.
Period.
So and that is a big drawback with, you know, private lenders. If that's what you're counting on, you've really got to go network and talk to people and find out who's lending money and what they're lending it at. And you know, it is a relationship business, and they're not that easy to find.
No, they're not. And they're definitely not easy. That I would say private lenders are more for seasoned investors.
Right.
That's usually not going to be your first real estate deal.
But you never know.
You never know. People get lucky all the time.
Right. So the last one would be what we call hard money, which is another type of private lending, but it is institutional. So these are funds, usually they're regulated by the SEC. They're $50, $100 million. I mean, they're almost small banks.
Exactly. And they've got terms, and those terms are higher than your regular loans. And a lot of new investors, they're like, "What do you?" I know when I first got started, I was like, "Hard money? I'm never going to pay that much money, never." And But you've got to realize these are short-term loans. You don't want to hold these for longer than 6 months. I mean, I know there's plenty of people out there that do. The real goal is as quickly as possible. If you could hold it for 30 days and be done with it, then that's the way you'd want to go. But it's going to allow you to get that property. They're going to be able to close quick. Close like cash is the way they're supposed to be able to close. Although we just got through discussing how that's not always the case these days. But
the one important thing to remember about hard money is because you're not going to be keeping that money very long, 6 months really should be about your end goal.
max.
You need to look at your terms, and more importantly, your points and your fees. Because, okay, so you're paying 12% interest. Not a big deal, really, if you're only doing 6 months, because that 12% is annual. So divided in half, you're paying really 6% to hold it, 1% per month. But how much are your fees? So for all of these, they're like, oh, well, I can get this, I can get the same loan at 10%, but I'm going to be paying 5 points in fees compared to 12% and only, say, 2 points in fees.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't even realize what points are.
Right.
So points are a percentage of whatever the purchase price is of that property. So
one point equals 1%.
exactly.
And it is a straight fee.
And those aren't even the other fees that can get padded in there. So that's really what you want to watch out for, because they may tell you 2 points and 12%, but with all the other processing fees
And there's a processing fee and an underwriting fee and, my gosh, this borrower annoyed me fee, and they just add up. So all of a sudden, you think you're just paying 2 points, but really that 2 points is 8 points because of all these other fees that you've got on there.
Who would you say, if somebody was going to a hard money lender and they're like, well, I don't know, are these regular fees or are these kind of pad fees? Who would you suggest they go and get a second opinion from?
I would probably shop out a couple different hard money lenders. It's no different than shopping out your contractor or your painter
Exactly.
or your electrician. Go get 3 bids and then look at your estimated closing costs that you're going to get from that hard money lender and really compare them and go, all right.
Line by line.
Line by line. How much are the fees? Add those up.
Well, and something that I tell even regular retail purchasers, even regular clients that are not investors, is they're like, oh, I already have a lender. I don't need one. They think of it that lender, that's the only, every lender is offering the same thing. And that's not the case. Every lender has several different things they can offer, several different rates they can offer depending on the terms. And same goes for the hard money lenders out there. They can probably, in one house, they can probably offer you a couple of different choices. But then if you go to the next one, you're going to have other options as well. So it's not always the same Kellogg's brand of cereal at every, that's all we got. That's all we got. You've got to shop it around.
Right.
So.
Good.
Yeah.
So part B.
Part B.
Yeah. The best way to buy real estate is if you're starting with a chunk of money, and every property you replenish that money 100%. So if you're starting with 100,000, you go and buy a piece of real estate, you fix it up. When you're done with the whole process, all of that money should be back, then making profits on it.
Exactly.
How do we do that?
How do we do that? We purchase it at the right price. We purchase the property at, right now, it used to be a 70% rule minus repairs. Now it's more 75, 80. I'm seeing more like 90, and people are taking thinner margins, but it depends.
How are people purchasing at 90% of ARV minus repairs?
90% ARV.
You'd have to keep it.
Yeah, you're
You'd
usually
have to keep it as a rental.
Exactly.
There's no way around that.
Either that, or we're talking about new investors that are getting into a deal that they don't even realize that they're buying at 90%, and then they flip it and they're like barely breaking even or a little in the hole. And then that's what we say is the cost of education.
that's a big cost of education, because as
Yeah,
a,
but we
as
see
a,
it
as an
all the
right,
time.
as an agent, I say it costs 10% just to sell a house. It's typically 8%.
Yep.
If you pay cash, you're going to make like, let's say you buy it 90% minus repairs, truly. You sell it, you pay 8%. If you paid cash, you're going to make 2% on that deal. If you didn't pay cash and you paid something more like hard money, you've already lost 4 or 5%.
Yeah. But how many investors do we know that don't even track?
I don't even want to get into that. You
Yeah,
track
that's another show.
That's another show. Make sure and keep good records. I mean, you can go up to 85, and right now there are loans that are doing that, are doing 85%, that they'll refinance out. And really, with the projections, and you should never buy on projections of the real estate market, buy on today. But, if everything holds true and real estate values keep going up and somebody holds a property for the next
Or if you
couple
borrow a
years.
property, but you're still not going to get 100% of it back out. But you'll have less money in that property.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, and by BRRRR, that means what we're talking about here. First, you're going to buy at the correct price, somewhere around 80% of ARV right now, minus your repairs, because you got to fit those in. If you're going to purchase using cash or financing, have as little amount of cash out there as you possibly.
Yeah, the other people's money is key here.
Right.
You want to use as much of somebody else's, less of your. That way if you only put $5,000 in and you've only got $20,000 to your name, well then you're not going to be desolate when it's all said and done if you lose money.
Right. Then you're going to complete all of the repairs. So you've got the property, you've got a loan on it. Now you're going to complete all your repairs so that you can get that top appraisal ARV number, and then go and have it refinanced.
Yep.
And I've seen refinances up to 85%. I would encourage people for long-term wealth building to not go refinance above and take cash out, but there's loans that are letting you take cash out right now. So it's kind of hard to turn that down as well.
Well, and so whenever you go to refinance it, you want to meet the appraiser. Just a well-known tip in our industry, meet the appraiser, show them everything that you've done to it, because naked eye, maybe they don't know about all the upgrades or whatever. Just try to talk up your property as much as possible, because I don't know how many times I've ended up rehabbing a property or a client's rehabbed a property, and then the appraisal doesn't come in, especially for refinance, because they're not refinancing it for flat out retail sale. Refinance is slightly different. It's going to be lower. But you want to be there and try to encourage them to get as close to a retail number as possible for that refi.
Excellent. And then once you get your refinance money back, you pay back all of your costs of purchase and rehab, which is probably in the form of some type of loan. You pay off that loan, you're all done, and now hopefully you've got no money out of pocket into that rental property or owner finance deal or
whatever it is whatever your exit strategy happens to be. Hopefully you've got no money still sitting in there and you've made some money.
Yeah, absolutely.
End goal, you made some money.
Well, and I love it when I'm at the end at that point and I look at it, I go, I've got no money out of pocket on this, and I'm making money every year on it. Maybe I'm making $6,000 on it. Well, that means that my returns are infinite. So that's always what I'm looking for. I'm always looking for within 1 year, having no money out of pocket.
Absolutely.
And everything back in.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much all the strategy as far as money in general for buying your first property. If y'all have any other creative alternatives, which I'm not sure I know there's IRAs, but we're getting more complicated.
Well, again, and that goes to private lenders too.
Yeah, it does. Anyway, but if y'all have any questions on this, or you're looking for hard money lenders, or you're,
Google.
Google's the best. I had that conversation this weekend, somebody going, well, how do you even shop that? And I'm like, How do you not? I mean,
Google hard
it's
money.
either, well, social media, all of these network groups, people are always saying this, hey, this company did great by me, or dropping a question in your DFW investment group. Who do y'all recommend for hard money? And you will get 50 recommendations. Like, go by,
I couldn't even count how many hard money lenders we have
Yeah.
in North Texas right now.
yeah, there's a ton of them. Everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
But y'all have a ton of resources at your fingertips that you don't even realize that we had to go scrounging for years ago. So, use social media as your tool to network and to shop these rates and find the lender of your choice. But thank you for joining us on Real Estate Divas. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'm Jer'Leigh Thompson with Texel Real Estate and Real Estate Reformation.
And I'm Kristen Gerst with Capricorn Mortgage Investments. Send me your owner finance notes. I'm always looking to buy them.
Bye, you guys.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.